Good afternoon. They've trotted out the television production guy to say something, so bear with me on this. I just want to tell you a little bit about our company, which is called 0.0 Production, but first I wanted to sort of throw up the definition of Travelogue, and this is something I think when we started out, I'm not in a calculated way, looked at what was going on in the industry and on television with travel, and kind of felt it could be done a lot better, and that's what we set out to do. The company was born out of a television experience that my partner and I were part of in the mid to late 90s, where we were making television that was medical based. Those sort of blood and guts dramas that were on Discovery and on the Learning Channel, that's what we worked on. No apologies. It was an experience at the beginning of the digital revolution where it was small format cameras going into situations that weren't necessarily the most hospitable, or you shouldn't be in there. And we thought, you know what? This will work perfect for food television. This is what we need to do. This sort of approach to television making, documentary television making. Remember, this was reality before the reality TV we know of today. This predates sort of the contrived scripting, the manipulation of situations. We felt, let's just go in and document what is going on. And that is how we approach this sort of television. And I think it has I don't want to use the word revolutionized, but it changed the way these stories were told. They were more personal, they were more intimate, and they were more real. I think that, you know, one of the things on here is why we do it is like we couldn't think of anything better to do. We figured let's do this and let's do it great. Let's do the best that we can. So my partner and I set out, and we heard about this guy who had written, he was a chef, and he had written a best-selling book, and he was going to travel the world again. Now, the book was called Kitchen Confidential. I have not read it yet. I hear it's pretty good. I'll read it when we're all done with that guy. So we went and we met him, and he was going to write a book called A Cook's Tour. The sort of pitch when we sold this was, it's about a guy who smokes, drinks, and eats his way around the world. All right, this sounds like a good idea. So we go and we pitch this thing, and it didn't, you know, it sort of met with that sort of, what are you talking about? And at that moment, we sort of turned gears. We said, oh, it's actually about he's in search of the perfect meal. And they were like, oh, we get that. I said, great. So we set out on this journey. Now, I wanted to show this photo because it's pretty potent. This is what creativity and utter confusion looked like 15 years ago to us. This is somewhere in the Outback, in early days of making the show A Cook's Tour. And thankfully for the folks at the Food Network who were very accommodating, and I think somebody must have been drunk when they made the decision to let us go do this, but I'm thankful that they were. And it began a process of storytelling that was truly immersive and real. I think the one thing we always hear is the authenticity of the experience and of the journey. And that's what resonates. That's what truly resonates in the story, you know, in storytelling. You know, we can highlight amenities, we can highlight you know, any number of things in a location, but it's that personal connection. It's somebody's point of view on a place that you're willing to follow and listen to and be entertained by. That is what has worked. So we went on to make A Cook's Tour for 2 years. And let me say something, this photo is it's wrong, because Tony's hair was much darker. It was sort of the beast of television had not sucked the color out of his hair yet. That came years later. So when you look at this, it's like, yeah, okay, you've gone a little gray there. So we work with these folks at Food Network for 2 years, and somehow they accommodated our low-budget homages to such films as Sexy Beast, Planet of the Apes, Mad Max. I mean, we were referencing stuff. That's what our storytelling was. We were referencing those books. You know, Tony and his Conrad's Heart of Darkness. That was part of our journey, and that became part of the storytelling. We got away with that for 2 years on Food Network, and then they sort of sobered up and they had found their brand, and they moved on very successfully to the brand that they now have. And I just wanted to say that when we went out the door with Tony, he had never really been on he had never shot television, and we got to Tokyo and we started shooting. And remember, he was going to write a book. He was going to write a book called The Cook's Tour. So here's the rub. The conflict is this. He's going to write a book. We're making a television show. Wait, we're disconnected here. We're not together. So when we started shooting, you've never seen this man so caught in the headlights of what the hell am I doing here and what's going on. And I'll never forget the night Lydia, my partner, and I, who were shooting and producing this, went back to our hotel and we're like, okay, we are completely screwed. Now, I just want to say one other thing. Lydia and I, my partner and I, had gotten married 5 days earlier. So in the dark corners of my mind, I'm like, I am so screwed. I just got married, and now I got this bomb on my hands. It's going on here. Spoiler alert, the marriage has worked out with Tony and my wife, so things are good there. So we come off of this exercise. We, I think, bowed out gracefully from a cook's tour and decided, okay, we need to do something else. And we weren't done yet. We took a year to sell this program, which was a further exploration of the journey. Again, more personal. I think we had found our footing. And it's like, how do we incorporate, you know, story, true story and POV into this travel journey, you know, while experiencing all the great things that this place has to offer. Obviously, we were very food-centric. I mean, that's where Tony came from, that's where we were going. But it soon became very clear that there was something else out there. There was a deeper, richer story that could be told about a place. When we sold this show to Travel Channel, it took a year. We went and met with them and thought, oh, this is gonna be a slam dunk. And the person at the time at the network said, hey, yeah, we've heard of Tony, but we gotta tell you, we don't do food. It's like, oh, all right, this isn't gonna work out. A year later, we got a phone call and ended up what became an eight-year run on this network, a really glorious 8-year run. Right now, what we've experienced and what we've seen is it's all about the storytelling. It's about, you know, the place. Yes, it's the place, but it's the people in that place that make it what it is. At the end of the day, we succeed or fail on that. And we fail at times, and that becomes a great show, or we succeed and that's a really good show as well. So it is a testament to the location and the people that we work with that are so integral in telling this story of a place. That's the greatest asset that we've found, are those people out there. We marched on and ended up, this is where we are now, at least with Tony. A very successful show that, interestingly enough, like rubs up beautifully against what CNN is. It allowed us to sort of step away from the table. Listen, our journey, the table is our entry point to a bigger story. That's what it is at the end of the day. That's where the journey begins, to sit down, have conversation, and move on to other parts. And you know, we have luckily a great partner that allows us to change what travel television looks like and sounds like, make it broader. And I think what I have up next is an example of just that.
Then there's this man, Kinoko Hajime, one of the best known and most respected practitioners, a master of shibari, the art of ropes, of beautiful knots, of what, for lack of a better word, we call bondage.
So how big is the sadomasochistic community? How many people are active participants?
10万人ぐらいもっといるかもう勝手な俺の予想です すごい計算して。
100,000 people.
A lot.
A lot.
This is Shibari. Translation, to bind. And to make things more confusing for those looking for a concise takeaway, a comfortable reaction to what sure as hell looks pretty disturbing, Tomika, who spends most of her time whipping, burning, and generally abusing men, enthusiastically reverses roles in her long-time relationship with Hajime.
It looks like a very delicate procedure. Does it hurt? Or does it feel good?
いや、気持ちいいよね。
もちろん。
Of course. But this pain changed to the ecstasy.
何も考えなくない時間っていうのが一瞬でもある感じがする。
What she said, when she was tied up, no need to think. Just leave it to. She loved that.
Performance art, craft, fetish, or compulsion. It's an old and shockingly omnipresent feature of Japanese popular fantasy culture. Magazines, movies, even comic books, the intricate restraint of a willing victim is, well, it's there, not far from the surface.
What percentage of Japanese men are interested in either tying up women or subjugating women?
はそういう女性をこう縛ったり。
多分全員やってると思いますよ、家では。
All of them. All of them.
Well, then the question is, how many Japanese men like to be tied up?
あ、こっちが彼女。
全員ですね。
All of them.
So in your experience, all Japanese men like to tie women up, but in your experience, all Japanese men like to be tied up. Who's more up sexually? Americans or Japanese?
態度が変わったりするかって、その例えば店のオーナーとして。
はい。そうですね。全部一緒です。
Same.
よかったらやってみるといいんじゃない？
So maybe she suggests you to be tightened up.
A little late for me.
Now, I show this not because to be salacious or anything like that, other than to sort of demonstrate the storytelling that's available and should be told, that travel exposes us to many, many different things. This is an example of it. We travel to Beirut. We travel around the world for experience, to feel something, not I like going to museums. I prefer to talk to people and find out what their stories are, who they are, and what goes on there. So this is an example of a further step in, I hope, travel TV, travel food TV. It incorporates all of that. It's all part of this sort of rich pageant of travel that we experience. Now, we didn't write this. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. You can read it. But what it really goes down to is the Anthony Bourdain effect. I shudder to think about what that is, other than hopefully it's inspired people to go out and see the world in a different way. I mean, that doesn't mean I need to go all the way around the world for a great meal or some pho or anything like that. I can go, to my local. If that's all I get out of you, and you're going to go experience it there, we've succeeded. Good, you've gone and done something. I mean, that's part of this experience. What we've learned from this is we've taken the I don't want to call it a model, but I'll call it a model of allowing people with a strong point of view to go out and experience the world. And here, I want to show you a clip of Joel McHale.
But this is not a geography lesson. I am here to eat and drink.
This will be a really short television show if I get hit by a car.
Instead of heading straight to my hotel, I have Tom pull over to the nearest bar so I can have my first of many hundreds of pints of beer.
Sir, do you have Guinness? Take it. I'm going to order what's called a Guinness.
In Ireland, we're very proud of the old Guinness, the old black stuff, you know. Probably had my first Guinness when I was about 15, thought it was disgusting. Now I quite like it.
When I was about 12, I had my first pint of Guinness. Well, that's illegal.
So a perfectly poured pint of Guinness should always be poured at 45-degree angle. It is all about the pour, tilted glass, tilted can. It should always have a head on it. It's like a sort of creamy coloured head with the black spout on the bottom.
This isn't a stereotype.
Actually, something you should know is that you only get the really good stuff over here. So get over here and try the Guinness.
Wow. It's going to be weird how you're documenting, how you're documenting my slow descent into alcoholism.
It is seeing a place through somebody's point of view. In this case, Joel McHale. I think that's what we, as a company, when we produce stuff, looking for that strong voice, you know, be it Joel McHale or some journalist, or looking at a world that we don't normally get to look at in a different way. We do a show called Meat Eater with Steven Rinella, a sustainable hunter. This to me is, you know, part of the future of what we're going to see in adventure travel. And adventure travel includes hunting. Now, we can all sort of have our feelings about hunting, and I appreciate that. What I'm trying to do here is show a side of it that's very connected to what we've done before, that has to do with how we eat, you know, and what we eat. And this is what this gentleman, who is a fantastic journalist, author, does. And I think exposes us to a world that a lot of us that didn't grow up hunting, don't know anything about it, but it doesn't mean I'm not interested in what goes on there.
When I started discovering the West and hunting on big tracts of national forest, where the difficulty of access winds up giving you chances for like exclusive opportunities on animals, it was a watershed moment in my life. It's a place where if you've got the fortitude, you're gonna get into some sweet hunting. I'm getting ready to cook the venison loin up. So I got my stove going, got some oil, got my little mini fry pan. We'll cook a couple minutes. It's already cooked. I mean, I like raw meat, super rare meat. Oh man, I can tell you right now, this is gonna be good. You come into an area to hunt, all your senses take it in. Once you go through all that, it just seems to me like it's short-sightedness, or just like a major shortcoming to not also like take it in with taste and take it into your body. You got to get in there and sink your teeth into what you're after. You want this wildness to become part of you. Without it, the experience is incomplete.
This sort of travel is we think is underserved and oftentimes poorly represented, and we see it as having an enormous future going forward. I mean, I think as we become so obsessed with food, this is a natural extension of that, a very honest and natural extension. So it's something that we are pursuing as a company. We, for many years, have been interested in the Stand and Stir, which was a cornerstone of Food Network. And if you're old enough to remember the old days where actually people cooked on Food Network, and it wasn't necessarily gamification of food, there was actually great value, be it Bobby or Emerald, and the master being Mario Batali of the Stand and Stir and Chatter. That's something we're still very interested in, and it pulls everything, the travel and the food. That's what we're trying to do with The Mind of a Chef. This is a show that we couldn't sell it, we financed it and made it because we believed in it, and ended up finding partners to help us make this thing. We're now going into our 4th season on this. I just want to give you a sense of what that show is.
The actual creation of a dish is to me something very intuitive. I never sit down and make little drawings and little plans on paper and stuff like that. I just sort of cook dishes.
All curious chefs are just fascinated by their surroundings. And I think our job is to kind of see those things, put them together, and then show the greatness of it. And really, it's just elevating stuff that's already there.
It's really difficult to know when it's right by trying to figure it out, but you feel when it's right. You can feel when a dish like really sings to you, when it really, really works. And that's a kind of an impossible thing to anticipate. It just turns into a good dish or not.
I'm not looking for a recipe. I'm not looking to be an anthropologist. I'm just looking for something that I know I haven't eaten before and I haven't seen before.
I hope we're creating experiences that are engaging people on a visual level, as well as inspiring them to move forward from that and seek this out. That to us is like, okay, we win doubly on that. If we're able to make something great and expose people to it, and then they go off and find it for themselves. Is anybody watching? We sure hope so. At least, hopefully, the people who pay for it and the people who enjoy it. I'll let Tony do a little something on my way out.
It's your first time to Denmark?
I gotta be honest, I usually try to avoid clean, orderly countries without massive social problems. I'm here for you, man. If you're not the poster boy for the entire country, you should be.
We go, no?
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
You are saddled with the weight of best restaurant in the world.
I know, this looks totally bogus. It's fantastic.
You need to work 20 hours a day in order to achieve this.
Come on, guys, they're waiting now.
Let's go.
It's so much less about it's about bang. And it's dun, elements, thoughts, elements. What places you've been you can compare to Norman?
No place. It's a whole different world.
Beautiful!
Just as some, I'm not the metrics guy necessarily, but just an understanding of how, the impact of food on a country is amazing. I mean, the industry, I probably don't need to tell you this, is enormous. I mean, when Rene Redzepi, gets 1 million requests for a reservation for 20,000 seats over a year, and by the way, if you're thinking you want to go there, you better hustle because it's closing later this year. So good luck to you on that. Don't call. Just some information about how big this has been and continues to be. So I just wanted to sort of close out this with, a sense of where are we going, what are we doing? Oh, that's right. The people who didn't pay for it, this show won 5 Emmys. Thank you very much. The future, where are we going? Why bother? Again, I'll defer to Mr. Bourdain.
There is a place, there is always a place, where something delicious in a bowl is waiting just for you. Down a street, down an alley, there's a place like this one, where locals will tell you the good stuff lives. They call this stuff long leg noodles because they say the woman who runs it is tall. Noodles for me are a solitary pleasure between me and my bowl. Fen Li and husband Ji Fun Wang understand this, I think. Now, this is a deceptively good business. What used to be a typical, low-cost, working-class stall of the Dai Pai Dong street variety has in fact blown up, along with the rest of the economy. Rich kids and TV guys like me want to eat here, and they do. How do you make a bowl of perfect happiness? cooked noodles in boiling water, liberally flavored with chilies and lard. Immerse your cooked noodles in a soy-inflected bath of deeply sinister, deeply pleasurable pork stock. Little bit of baby bok choy. Heat for a few seconds, simmering, then garnish with a bit of slowly cooked, heavily reduced, almost candied pork. Then suck those noodles loudly and enjoy.
So, in closing, to end on a simple bowl of noodles is probably the way to go. We are selfish and greedy, just wanting a good time. I mean, at heart, that's what we're going out for, and no shame there. We're looking for something great, and basically an honest bowl of noodles at the end of the day. That's what we're all looking for, and we should all be searching for and finding. Maybe that is the future. Thank you.